In the upcoming videos, we're going to be covering a lot of new topics, things like scatter plots. We're going to be looking at different ways that you can present them. As you can see here, I can have them split. You can have it colored in certain ways to give you new perspectives. I'm going to show you a new mark type called shapes and how you can use that. We're going to be introducing parameter controls, just introducing them because there is so much you can do in parameters, but it is quite advanced. So we're going to leave a majority of it in the expert section, but we will introduce just basically what they do, just a few features. We're going to be looking at trend lines, different ones you can do. We're going to look at forecasting and how it works in Tableau and how it uses what's called exponential smoothing for its predictive capability. We're going to discuss some predictive modeling as well and kind of how Tableau fits in with that. We're going to look at the analytics menu and how you can apply it in different ways. Things like applying it to the whole table, applying them to individual panes, controlling them, formatting it. We'll cover a lot of that. We'll again be looking at that in combination with some more parameter controls. And finally, we'll be looking at some clustering techniques. All right, so let's begin. We're going to start with just some basic scatter plots, okay? A scatter plot, if you don't know already, is really just measuring two sets of variables or two sets of numbers against one another. Let's do a simple example here. I've got profit here on the bottom, right, going this way, and I've got sales going up here. And what I'm comparing this is with subcategory. And to show you just what that is, let's get out my drawing tool. I'm just going to add that as a label. So you can see storage, phones, copiers, accessories, and so on, right? And for each one of those, it's comparing the sum of sales on the y-axis, which is down here, and the sum of profit on the, oops, I should keep going, on the x-axis. And basically just looking at their relationship. So if I look at something like this, they are making very low profit. In fact, they're in the negatives, and they're making about $100,000 in sales. And what this does is it shows you the relationship between two sets of numbers. As you can see here, copiers are doing extremely well. They're both selling a lot as well as have a very high profit, right? In scatter plots, you can also do something just really simply like this. Okay, and you can designate what's good, what's bad based on the analysis you're doing. But you can say that for these ones, they're making, I don't know, less than average sales, but their profits are actually quite high. Why is that? And then you can get deeper into your data. So let's go ahead and just build one so you can see how it works. I'm going to create a new sheet. Okay, and I'm going to look for our very common sales, right? I'm going to bring that into one of them. And I'm going to bring profit into the other. And if I remember correctly, how did we do it for this one? Sales is on rows. Okay, so let's bring this here. So I'm just going to reverse this. I'm going to use the transpose function. All right, and that's just to swap them two around. And as you'll see, there's only one value. And the reason for that is we haven't divided it up yet, or we haven't segregated it, or we haven't applied what's called a level of detail. So let's do a really simple example. If I was going to split this up by category, I simply drop category. Where's category? Category, category, category. There it is, right? I can simply drop category into level of, into this detail tile. And that will split them into the three categories. Let's drop that into label, right? And I can do this for whatever I like, basically. So let's get rid of this category. It'll go back to the individual one. Let's say I want to see it by subcategory. I just drop it into the level of detail icon right here. And that will split them up by category, as you can see there. And the example we had, I believe, subcategory. Yep, let's just check that. And what I also did was I sized it based on the amount of profit that they had. Okay, oh sorry, on the sales that they had. So I can grab sales, hold the control key on my keyboard, and just drop that on size. Right, so now I have that size. Let's make these circles, okay, so that they're solid fills. And let's give it some color. So again, I'm holding the control and dropping it on color. Okay, and because you know me, I like my red and black. Let's go like this, apply, okay. And now we have our red and black. Let's just make that a bit wider. There you go. And that's basically a scatter plot. You really just want to look at a set of measures versus another set of measures. And that's all you're really looking for. That is the introduction, but there's a lot more you can do. So let's do another one. In this one, which is segmented, right? So I've just called it segmented, is basically your scatter plot, and you've just split it up. So if we go back to this example we had before, I can do the same thing, right? And split this up by segment. So we know that there's 3 different types of segments, right? That I can see here. I can just drop that into columns, right? And that will automatically split them by segment. I can put that in rows, right? And you can have multiple ones as well. So let's say I have segment up here, and I also want to bring category. Let's look for category, right? I can drop that into rows. And now I have a 9 by 9, no, sorry, a 3 by 3 square of scatter plots. You can go to your heart's content about how much you want to show and how you want to show it in your scatter plot. And it's very easy. You just, we're just dragging and dropping. So nothing crazy in here. Okay, let's do a new example. I'm going to use this one now, which is a scale, right? And basically what I want to show here is another way to kind of color code your data to really show, okay, which parts are really struggling, or which companies, or which customer, in this case, customer name, right? Which ones are really struggling. So what I can do is, let's do a fresh one. And again, let's do another piece of practice. So look for your sales. Okay, let's bring sales in here. Right, let's bring profit. Okay, and you can use whatever measures you want, obviously, for your practice. We're going to split this up this time using customer name. Let's go ahead and look for that. So customer name, we're going to drop it into detail, right? And that will split it. Now, you don't have to drop it into detail. There's a few other tricks you can do, right? If I get rid of that for a second, if I drop that into color, that will do the same thing. The only problem is for every customer, and there's a lot of them, you're going to get different colors. So it's another way of splitting it up by detail, right? You can do that by label, right? You can do it by shape. Just remember that if you split it up with these, you're going to have a lot of combinations. You're going to have a lot of colors, a lot of shapes, a lot of labels, and that can take up quite a bit of memory on your display, especially when you're using it on the cloud. So what I recommend on your first split is to drop it into detail. Okay, and now we have them all in here. I'm actually going to rotate this, again using our transpose button right here. All right, I just want it this way. And I want to color code this based on the profit on the left side. So again, we just duplicate this into color, right? Oh, sorry, not the customer name. Here we go, into color, okay? And that will split it up by color. And the reason I like this, if we do, again, my famous red, black, all right? You can really see the companies that are struggling. And if I put this into size, right, the smaller the size, obviously the worse the company is. Okay, so what is going on over here? Customer name, Safira Shifley. What is going on over there? So again, it can show you a lot more. You can change these color scales as well. Let's say 2000 is the problem. I can double click and go into my coloring. And this is a new feature, right, that you haven't done before. If you go to, where is it? Advanced, right? You can actually set where these colors start. So if I go to center and just activate that, and I'm going to set it to around, let's say 1500, which is probably around there, okay? Because that's my, let's say my threshold. I'm going to go minus 1500 and go apply. And what you'll notice is this has now shifted back, right? So 0 is no longer my center of the graphic. Minus 1500 is. That way you can see a lot more of these reds down here, and we'll probably make this color a bit stronger, right, if we can. Let's see if there's a brighter red. Let go, okay, apply, and go okay. And what I might actually tweak here is actually get rid of this size, okay, and then maybe convert this to circle. Okay, so you can really see that color there. Okay, and now I can see that red. And if that red is actually, let's just make it a bit bigger, right? That's probably a lot better in terms of showing my data. So then when someone sees this, they're going, okay, something's going on in this bottom region here. Let's have a chat with these people, and so on and so forth. Okay, and the last one we're going to do for this video is shapes. Right? And shapes, again, is just another way to separate your data. So in this case, we've split them up for office supplies to be square, right? Let's just set the highlighter on, right? Office supplies, technology, and furniture. Again, just another way to look at your data. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's go to a new sheet. And again, for your practice, simply adding sales, right? Profit, let's add up here. Okay, and I think in this case I use, what did I use? Subcategory, sorry, manufacturing, manufacturer as my level of detail. So let's go look for manufacturer, and let's drop that into detail. So now I've got my split right here. And again, we'll rotate. I don't know why I don't just put sales in columns. I guess I just keep forgetting. Okay, and I want to split this by category. So let's look for category. And all I do is I drop it into shape. Now, if you can't see shape, the reason is in this marks one, right, it's set to something else. Like if it's set to circle, you won't see shapes. So the way to see it, if the automatic is not picking it up, is to simply set this to shape straight away. Okay, and now you will see it in here. And I'll show you how to edit it and do all sorts of things. Let's grab category, drop it into shapes. And now we have the different shapes. Now here's the problem. They're all blue. So how can I tell the difference? Well, I can also add some color, as we always do. And now I can see those colors. And if I wanted to change the different shapes I'm using, that's very easy. I just click shape. Okay, it brings up this menu. And much like colors, you can edit it from here. So if I want this to be an asterisk or a diamond, I can change the different things. All right, the different icons. So we can have a ladybug in there. We'll put, what do we put? Like a tick for technology. You can mix and match as well. All right, we can use, let's say, I don't know what this thing is, right? And go okay. So again, I can have different symbols. I can change their size, right? Probably sped that out a bit more. Okay, so I can have that. And what I'm going to do is, just so you can have a better look, I'm going to exclude these values. All right, there you go. Let's zoom in a bit more. Okay, so you can see all the different symbols, all the different values, right? You can add in your size if you want to, okay? And that's basically how you use shapes. It's very, very simple to use. You can use it for other things as well. You don't have to use it just for scatter plots. You can use it for other things as well, like I believe, like any dot kind of symbols. Anytime where you're using a point, could be across dates or whatever it may be. All right, so I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you at the next video.